Making any financial decision.
The following program is sponsored by the Now Academy.
I say I'm gonna lay it right on the line. A dollar bill is a friend of mine. We need money. Talking about money. Hey, credit.
Money 2.0 presents In the Now, the premier show for entrepreneurs, business owners, and business leaders. With marketing experts Brandon Heinz and Mike Triggers. Get ready to unleash and launch because they're going to blow your mind. Now, here are Brandon Heinz and Mike Triggers on Money 105.5.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're listening to this broadcast. Hello, Sacramento and Facebook Live. How are everybody today? How are you?
I'm good. Besides my microphone over here and my headset.
Uh-oh, you're having headset problems? Technical problems. Gotta love it.
Always,
Yeah.
That's why you just have to have your personal power mastered so things like that don't bother you.
Yes, exactly.
Things happen, right? It's just a crackle in my ear, repeating in my left ear after I say it in my right, but, How's your day? How was the drive up?
Drive was good. With school out, there's hardly any traffic, It's the summertime and less traffic, but it was nice. And there was this hot air balloon that I was watching it as I was driving up, right? We're on the straight path on 80 right there. And this hot air balloon was coming across in the view. And as I got closer, it was going across and then it landed in a field. So it was kind of cool to watch that as you're driving, up, you see this big old hot air balloon.
See, that's one thing I just don't know if I could make it. I'd probably get all the way up there and start freaking out. Like, is this thing going to crash?
I wouldn't do hot air. Actually, I had a friend that did it, and it did crash, and he broke his ankle because of the crash, and it crashed in somebody's backyard.
Oh man!
I personally wouldn't do it. No way.
See, I'm afraid of unsafe heights. So, my wife wants to do this tour where we go through the Grand Canyon, and everyone I've talked to just talks about how there's no railings. And your kids are just running around playing. There's gravel everywhere, and they're just about to slip off the canyon, and they're gone. But you never, ever hear about it, right?
That's crazy.
I've never heard of somebody falling in the Grand Canyon. I've never heard that. But I know I would freak out just seeing my 3-year-old or my 10-year-old running by the rock or even standing next to it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those type of environments either. It's like the bungee jumping. I went up one time, and I was going to do it, and I'm like, I got to be crazy. I got to be crazy to be jumping perfectly off, something that's keeping me from
solid ground to midair.
Yeah, exactly, and not kill myself. So I chickened out, actually.
So how's your summer going so far, man?
So far, so good. I've got, a lot of things going on. You and I have got things going on. We've got an event that's coming up, and then, getting our trainings recording. I think that's been the biggest thing is just getting our digital trainings done, getting everything online. That's been probably the heaviest task for the last couple of weeks, developing content. But
yeah, I'm really looking forward to this summer. I know we got some masterminds at my house I'm doing with some private, intimate settings, lunches on site. We're going to have a lot of fun. But more importantly, I just feel like everything that I read this year, everything that I'm seeing, all the things that are coming my way. So they tell you in quantum physics, what you observe for is what you get, right?
Right.
So just keeping your powerful mastery and how your mindset is looking for things. If you keep looking for the right things, they're going to come your way. It's that old thing when you say, oh my gosh, look at that white car right there. I've never seen that car before. I love that new car that so-and-so put out. And then everywhere you go, you see that car, whether it's in white, red, blue, or not, it starts showing up everywhere. Because now your subconscious mind is now observing for the outcome that you want. It's looking for what you are thinking of, what you focused on. So even when you start to focus things, like me and my wife have been focusing on a task, and then today we receive a phone call in regards to the task that we were going to reach out on next week. And I call my wife, and I'm like, you're never going to believe what just happened. Somebody just called me about the topic we were just discussing, and we were trying to figure out a way to look at this topic, and then the topic approached us. And the same thing's happening right now in all the fields that I'm working in. Everyone keeps saying, you'll see these posts coming out from Gary Vaynerchuk or any of the guys that I'm following are ladies and Maria Ferrello and all these people that I watch, and they're talking about how much 6 months could change your business.
Oh, yeah.
How much one summer having the life you want, but focusing one topic a day on achieving something for your business can grow.
Yeah, 1%. 1% can change your whole business, just 1% difference.
And I know in the last 5 years, I've grown tremendously in mindset, from NLP work all the way to just focusing on what I really want in life and having that extra time, being able to work from home, being able to come home and do things at my house and know that I don't have to be bound to just the office, and changing that mindset. And today we have Doug Vermeuren, who's considered one of North America's top speakers and trainers on the subject of publicity and sales. ABC calls him the modern Napoleon Hill. But really what he's talking about is, personal power mastery. And we're going to have him on after the break today, and we're really going to look at this and say, hey, this is what it really comes down to. When you look at your mindset and you know what you want. We had a guest on here that had a book called The Mirror, right? What You See in the Mirror. Mm-hmm. I'm slandering the name of the book, but basically what it came down to is looking into the mirror and just being totally dead honest with yourself and saying, what do I want?
Yeah.
And then I go a step further and say, what will having that do for me as a person? And then really aligning all of your mindset and the power that you have within you to have it. Everyone knows that one little incremental change could shift how you look at things in life. If you're driving in traffic and someone gets mad at you and you just wave hi and say, I'm sorry that bothered you, that's totally shifting your mindset from the old, like, oh, I'm going to wave my fist at them and I'm going to get mad, then my whole day's ruined and the next 3 people that see me are going to be talking about this thing that happened on the freeway. No. Change your mindset.
Yeah.
Harness the power that you have to make things happen that you want. But the first step is finding out, what do I want? Doesn't matter if you're sitting in a cube, you're building an empire, you're opening a brand new cookie store, bakery, whatever you're doing, a new yogurt shop, pizza delivery, whatever it is.
Whatever.
It doesn't matter. But find out what you want. What do you want in life? And start changing it. Because just the other day I was looking at, was it Brian Tracy?
Yeah.
And he's got to be in his 70s, right?
Yeah.
And he says, that I've seen the most change in life from people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s growing so much because some of them took that long to figure out what they really wanted. But then all of a sudden they harnessed that power within inside of them at age 30 and they did something. At age 40, it's never too late. He says when you're young, 20s, 30s, and 40s, you're just going and going and going, and finally you slow down and realize that this may not even been what I wanted, and I'm going to change something. So harnessing that power inside of you and knowing what you want is going to take you where you need to go. What you observe for, you will get.
Yeah, I think the next thing to, even once you've decided and know what you want, is taking responsibility.
Yes.
Take action and responsibility for everything, right? If you did something wrong, or take responsibility for it. Be responsible.
Yeah.
If you did something right, well, be responsible. But it's getting in the habit of taking responsibility. So we're going to go to a commercial break here on Money Talk 105.5 on In the Now with Mike Driggers and Brandon Hine. When we come back, we'll have Doug Vermeuren on and talking about personal power mastery.
In the Now, 105.5. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or how about the one that says, mindset is everything? I truly believe both these statements. If you're looking to grow in your life or your business, then something's got to change. Stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Hi, I'm Brandon Hines, and I've helped thousands of my clients do just that. Stop being controlled by limiting beliefs and patterns that don't suit you anymore. Join me at AskBrandonForFree.com. That's AskBrandonForFree.com.
A federal judge has approved the merger of AT&T and Time Warner, rejecting the government's attempt to block it. It clears the way for AT&T to develop new video streaming products using Time Warner's vast content library. Consumers who've been squeezed by rapidly rising gasoline prices may soon get some relief. A new report by the International Energy Agency predicts the recent spike in world oil prices is pretty much over, with crude oil prices moderating for the rest of 2018. That could keep gasoline prices from going even higher. Seattle's mayor and a majority of the city council say they will vote to repeal a tax on Amazon, Starbucks, and other major employers in the city after those companies mounted an intense lobbying campaign against the tax. I'm Mark Huffman. Review the Consumer Affairs Daily Brief at Amazon.com today.
The #1 show for entrepreneurs. This is In the Now, part of the Money 2.0 series on Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5 app.
Bow, 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 bow.
Show me the money. So Doug Vermeerden, considered one of North America's top speakers and trainers. ABC calls him the modern-day Napoleon Hill for his first-hand research into the lives of more than 400 of the world's top achievers. These insider success secrets are the basis for everything he teaches and shares with his audience. He's here with us on the station today live.
Yeah, he's also the producer of 3 movies, personal development movies that are in the top 10, like The Opus and The Gratitude Experiment and The Treasure Map. Great movies that he's done.
Yeah,
so
he's also authored 3 books on the world-famous guerrilla marketing series, Guerrilla Achiever, Guerrilla Millionaire, and Guerrilla Mastermind. Several of these books have reached bestseller status and have been translated in more than 20 languages worldwide. But today, he's here, and he's going to be sharing with our audience the topic of personal power mastery, learning the secrets and strategies that top achievers use to create more powerful outcomes and results in their lives. So earlier we were asking you, like, what do you want? Well, once you know what you want, how are you going to achieve it? And that's why we brought Doug on today. Doug, how are you?
I'm doing awesome, guys. How are you?
It's good talking to you again. Last time we were on stage with you.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. We had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did a live broadcast. You were on live speaking, teaching about public speaking and being an entrepreneur. So it was awesome.
Yeah, it was funny. I think we were in Toronto last time, and you could hear the audience in the background with everything that we were all talking about. It was fun. We had a good time.
Yeah,
it was a good show. A lot of impact. A lot of social media engagement. It was great.
Yeah, now you've got your new program that's out and cranking. I've seen it all over Facebook, been watching and had many conversations, the Personal Power Mastery. So what is that? What is Personal Power Mastery?
I guess that's kind of a funny thing because it's actually not a new program. I've been teaching it for close to, I guess, maybe 10 or 15 years now. But Personal Power Mastery, for those who maybe aren't familiar, I went out and kind of like what you said in your intro, I interviewed more than 400 of the world's top achievers, people like, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, all these kind of successful people who've been, in their life achieved massive success and basically identified the patterns that they have been using to create this kind of success in their lives over and over again. And naturally, as we've taught it, we found that many of these patterns are very actually easy to apply. They're practical, real-world strategies. And the other thing that I guess has been surprising is a lot of the things that, you've read or thought that you understood about personal development of what you need to do. To tell you the truth, it's a little bit incomplete. There's some things that are out there that, you may not actually have the full answer on. And so in Personal Power Mastery, as you can imagine, after interviewing 400 people, we've identified some very consistent strategies and systems and tools that people actually do use to create success. And that's the essence of the program.
Oh, that's awesome. So what are a couple samples of some patterns that your top patterns, like a couple?
Wow. Well, you know what? I think maybe an easier way to even start, because I was listening in earlier before I came on the break at some things that you were saying, and I really love what you were talking about. In fact, I don't know if it was Mike that mentioned it. Sounded like Mike's voice. But one of the things that I think is important just at the beginning of Personal Power Mastery is to understand why we chose that title. Okay? So Personal Power and Mastery, they all have very, distinct but specific reasons why we chose them. And the first one, again, back to kind of what I heard going earlier about the break, you were talking about responsibility. And that word personal in Personal Power Mastery is exactly that. We have a saying that if you own it, you can change it. So if you don't like the outcomes that are in your life, you need to become personally involved and personally accountable. And that's the very first step in success, is that if you're not personally involved, nothing will change. And so I really appreciate that you guys mentioned that. The other 2 words in that, phrase, Personal Power Mastery, are equally as important. And that's to recognize power, that we have what is technically the capacity to take action, the capacity to make changes, the capacity for choices. And that idea of power, I think, is oftentimes what separates victims from top achievers. Victims are powerless. Top achievers recognize they have all the power. And as soon as we recognize that power is within our hands, we can start really doing something about it. And that last word of mastery, I think, is equally as important. Our definition of mastery is a little bit different, though. If you kind of look at what most people think mastery is, it means a high level of perfection. And that's not what mastery to us is at all. In fact, mastery is a journey, and mastery is really essentially moving forward with progress. You see, when I did interview the world's top achievers, I found something very startling, and that's top achievers are not perfectionists. In fact, the farthest from it. They're improvisers. And so they're never looking to do things perfect. They're always just looking to get things done. And this is one of the things, when we're talking about mastery also, if you look at, for example, I do competitive mixed martial arts. It's a hobby of mine. When you get to a high level of martial arts, say you've got a black belt in an art. In fact, most people who reach a black belt level recognize that that's actually when the real learning starts. That's when it all begins, right?
Yep.
And so this is what I say too. When it comes to mastery, we recognize that it's a journey, that it's a progress, and it all starts, like I said, with you and your ability to take action, to be powerful in your own right.
Wow. That's, and that's interesting that the statement, that they're not perfectionists, that they're improve. What'd you say? Improve?
I said top achievers are not perfectionists. They're improvisers.
Improvisers. Okay.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest skill, actually, that I think really holds a lot of people back, because they think they need to have all the answers, and they think they need to understand what to do at all circumstances. In fact, if you even look why people make decisions, they totally incorrectly understand the principle of decision-making. If you say to somebody, would you like to do this? Well, often they say, well, I don't have enough time, or I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough knowledge or resources, or I don't know enough people. Well, the truth of the matter is all your decisions of the past have put you in that circumstance where you have lack, or you don't have enough money, or whatever. The only thing that's going to change that is a new decision. But the problem with that decision is you may not see yet how the money's going to arrive. You may not see how the opportunity is going to show up. But until you make a new decision and actually make that leap of faith, you'll never find it. And there's actually a Zen proverb that I really like. It says, leap, and the net will appear. And that's consistent with all top achievers. Life is a risk, regardless of how you look at it. The question is if you're going to, in fact, I posted this just the other day on our social media, in terms of the law of attraction, if you approach the universe with hesitation, everything will arrive with hesitation. But if you go all in, if you just literally jump in and say, I'm committed, you can't be 100% totally committed sometimes. You have to do it all the time. And as soon as you get really 100% committed, everything begins to conspire to help you achieve that. You were also talking about NLP and brain work here. Brain work is one of my big things that I love. I'm just a big fan of neuroscience. And it's interesting that up until the point where a person makes decisions, your brain is in a mode where it actually tries to defend where you're currently at. So in other words, if you're standing on the fence and you're not sure yes or no you're going to do something, your brain is actually focused on keeping you balanced on the fence, right? But the minute that you take a decision, your brain actually then shifts into problem-solving mode and tries to figure out how to get it done. But the problem with most people is they never ever make a firm commitment, so your brain is always operating at only a percentage of its capacity to actually take you to any successful level.
Yeah,
you're always trying to protect yourself, right?
Your brain is knowing that you've survived where you currently are. So if you don't make that decision to go somewhere different, your brain is always going to take that fight or flight mode and do the most positive outcome for you, which is surviving.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that when you were talking about the approach, if you come with hesitation, then the world shows up. And I've always said that once you've decided to do something, the how always shows up. Right? Even if you don't know what's going to happen, the how does. It just shows up. And I can't tell you how many times it's done that in my life.
You leap and the net will appear.
Yeah, I love that. Another great quote from Doug here, right?
Yeah.
The last one is if they feel your vibe, they'll be your tribe. Was your last one on the show?
True.
We've used that like 100 times.
Well, here's another one for you to just think about, guys, too, is that a lot of people, again, hold back giving their best self to when they're going to get involved in something. They're hesitant until they really see things. It's tough for them to get. I don't think motivation is the problem. I think momentum is the problem. When we get started, we can gain momentum, right? But the problem is you'll never find your willpower until you find your why power, right? Because we hold back until we really have an emotional reason. We as people are not logical beings. Human beings are not logical. We're very emotion-driven. We're feeling-based. And so until we have a true sense of why something is important, even that idea of getting started, our willpower will not appear. And when we have our willpower moving, then our how power shows up, right? And so it's one of those things where I think most people, unfortunately, from a logical point of view, they know that maybe they want to have more money or they want to have better relationships or they want to have, more success in whatever part of their life is on a logical level. But they've never really answered the emotional reason why. And you asked me earlier, what really makes personal power mastery different? Well, I'll give you another fundamental tool here that does make us different. Too often when people are talking about goal setting, they only focus on the specifics. You heard it, that SMART, measurable, achievable, all that kind of stuff. Write it down, set a date, all that kind of stuff. Well, that's only half of effective achievement. Because, I agree, and here's another quote from me, a goal that is specific and clear becomes attainable and near, right? But unless you have emotion attached to it, feeling attached to it, it makes no difference, right? So what we tell our students is the feeling is actually even more important than the specifics of what you're looking to achieve, right? I kind of like what Stephen Covey also said, that the problem with most people is they climb the ladder of success to see it's leaning against the wrong wall. So if you get the feeling part of it right, and the feeling, meaning the happiness and the joy, the reason why you're doing this, the gift that it will give you on that emotional level, most of the time then the specifics actually fall into place, right?
Right.
So a goal that is specific and clear is what?
Becomes attainable and near.
Aha.
But keep in mind, again, if it doesn't have the correct emotion, it doesn't matter what it is, and you're also not going to have the power to get there.
Yeah, if you don't know the why, then the what and the how aren't going to fall into place. Your body has to register with your subconscious mind why I want something new.
And not only just the why from a logical point of view, because a lot of times, if you say to people, okay, your goal, what is it? And they'll say, well, to have more money. You'll say, why? They'll say, well, because I don't want to have financial stress or I want to have financial freedom or abundance. Okay, that's a nice why, but it's still very surface, right? Yeah. It doesn't get into the real emotional levels of why. And, if you look at someone who has achieved financial success, you'll find that a lot of times, they have very powerful whys in terms of the legacy that they want to create. Maybe they've even been from a background where there's been lack and they don't want that for themselves or their children or anyone else, or they can really get into high levels of emotion. And most of the time, we even as people will do more for others than we will do for ourselves. And in fact, just look at any mother and you'll see that they'll sacrifice everything for one of their own children, right?
Right.
But we're all like that in some capacity. So the question is when you're creating this emotional legacy, because we're all interconnected as human beings, what's your real why on an emotional level, and how will it affect those also that mean the most to you? Right? If you look at why most people fail, a lot of time it's because they just don't have the family support. Right?
Yeah.
Right.
They don't have those around them loving them into success.
Yeah, they've either outgrown them mentally, because if they are in this world of this personal achievement or personal growth, the people around them aren't growing at the same level they are, so then they can't connect, or they're just not a loving family that gives that type of support to somebody that is trying to grow.
True. It's interesting, too, because there's a lot of personal development leaders and so-called gurus out there who tell you that if you're surrounded by toxic people, you need to cut them out of your life. And I'm here to tell you that I think that we got to be realistic. Sometimes that's just not possible. You may have a parent or a sibling or maybe even your own spouse. And I think it's dangerous for people to go around talking about, okay, it's time for you to get a divorce just because that person doesn't agree with what you're doing at the time. There's a few thoughts on this. Number one.
Hold on.
Hey, Doug, we got to hold that one. Our producer's saying go to break. But on that note, in order for me to grow, I have to be okay with where you are. And when we get back with Doug Vermeeren, we'll have more for you. 105.5 in the now.
Hey, honey.
Hi.
Sitting in the garage again, huh?
Yeah?
All alone? Yeah.
On our son's bicycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to be without your bike, so do something easy and protect it with Progressive Motorcycle Insurance. And when you ride with us for 4 straight years without an accident, we won't count your first one against you, no matter how much it costs. Visit Progressive.com to quote today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Accident forgiveness not available in all states.
Grainger stands for safety, and they know what safety stands for. S, safety. A, all about safety. F, feeling good about safety. E, extreme safety. T, talking about safety. Y, you guessed it, safety. First aid kits, eye wash stations, fire protection, you name it. For over 90 years, they've been helping to keep facilities safe and people safer. When it comes to safety, Grainger's got your BACK. Call or click Grainger.com to see for yourself. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or how about the one that says, mindset is everything? I truly believe both these statements. If you're looking to grow in your life or your business, then something's got to change. Stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Hi, I'm Brandon Hines, and I've helped thousands of my clients do just that. Stop being controlled by limiting beliefs and patterns that don't suit you anymore. Join me at AskBrandonForFree.com. That's AskBrandonForFree.com.
Hey folks, you know, when it's 100 degrees outside and your air conditioner needs repair, it can stink to be you. Because they'll charge you extra just because they can. Call Big Mountain before it breaks down, then it'll stink to be them. I'm Farron Larson for Big Mountain Heating and Air. Give us a call to take advantage of our $69 heating and air conditioning rejuvenation before you have a problem. We'll get you through another summer and winter with Big Mountain's 1-year guarantee against your air conditioner or your furnace breaking down, or the service will be free. Also find out how to get a new air conditioning system with solar installed and financed for less monthly expense than buying a new air conditioner only. Don't pay $130 a month for 10 years just for heating and air. Details at bigmountainair.com or just call 916-378-4616.
Coming back in 10.
Or
bigmountainair.com. The number one show. This is In the Now, part of the Money 2.0 series on Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5.
All right, we are back and live. How's everybody going? And we're rocking some great nuggets in that last session.
And you know, there was a piece that really hit home with me because one of my mentors, and this is way back in the beginning of neuroscience, I think it was in the first weekend where I actually did a 4-day course. One of the instructors was talking about somebody who was stuck somewhere in their family environment, these family entanglements that happen. And as we were talking about being surrounded by toxic people, right? Well, the quote was, in order for me to grow, I have to be okay with where you are. And that surrounds us with our best friends from high school, grammar school, our brothers, our sisters, our wives, our husbands. You can grow and be okay with somebody not growing. I know when I was younger, I always outgrew all my girlfriends. So by senior year, I'm like, I'm going to move on to college. I'm not going to date that girl anymore. I'm going to date somebody different. That's going to grow with me. But then I met my wife, and she grew and grew and grew, and we've always been growing together. But I had to actually be okay with wherever she was, whether she was ahead of me, behind me, on the side of me, always supporting me. So in order for you to grow, you have to be okay with people around you not growing.
Yeah.
And those toxic people can still be your friends. I have a friend who was addicted and in rehab all the time, but I was always still the same page. Like, hey, how are you? Let's go out and have a barbecue. But I had to be okay with where they were. So it's not that you have to separate yourself from these toxic people. And it is good to surround yourself with people who are on the same page as you. But you can grow and still have some friends from all walks of life that are in totally different patterns than you. And Doug, I think you were hitting on that before we left.
Yeah, and I think another important thing to recognize is that people aren't toxic 100% of the time. We have a real danger when we label somebody as always 100% negative. One of the things that I thought was interesting also, just to point out, this is a funny little quote that we share, is just to remember that everybody has a few monkeys. So everybody's going to have them. Even the most successful people in the world has people within their family that are somewhat toxic. So in Personal Power Mastery, in our 3-day seminar, we do talk a lot about relationships. And, of course, relationships, even on an entrepreneurial level, are important because I want to mention that no transaction can take place, meaning a financial transfer of money, without a relationship. And if you own a business, it's only a matter of time until you run into somebody who's going to be difficult to deal with. It's just the way life is. But here's the thing that, one of the things anyways that we talk about in the training is how do you position those toxic people in your life in such a way that you recognize them for what they are and then don't let them affect what you're trying to do. In other words, ways that you can, how should we say, instead of making their emergency your fire, how can you build boundaries that allow you to stay on track? So that, in other words, their ambition doesn't become your mission. You actually are the one that controls your destiny and makes your choices in a very much proactive way. And I might also add that if we look at the opposite of proactive, that's reactive. And reactive people will always be the slaves to proactive people. So how can you make those decisions to be proactive ahead of time and position people in a way that they can't harm you? And that's something that, we don't have time to go into today. But I think just start thinking that way a little bit, that you are the one in control of, you teach people how to treat you, essentially. And for those that kind of want to learn more about that, like we've got some really cool resources that we give out for free. Just join us on our Facebook group. And there's some stuff right there on personal power mastery on how to position people in a way that will empower you rather than hold you back as an anchor.
Hey, Doug, on that, what are some other things that people will learn from your program? Because you just mentioned one. Let's go on that track a little bit and share with folks some of the other things that they'll learn from your program.
Sure. Well, I think some of the big things that are often misunderstood is the power not of action but deliberate action. What are the effective things that you need to do? In other words, the day-to-day habits and the ritual tendencies. What are those minute details that top achievers do that make all the difference? So I guess one of the things that we really share that becomes quite evident is that not everything that you're doing is incorrect, right? So there may be some really valuable, powerful things that you're doing right now. You're just maybe not doing them in the right sequence, and you're maybe not doing some of the smaller things that are making the biggest difference. See, a lot of times people actually do, they get out there, and you've heard this saying, it's more important to work smarter than it is to work harder. Well, the problem is at this point, you think you're working as smart as you can.
Right.
But if we looked at your paycheck, that's your report card. So, if you're doing 5 figures, if you're doing 6 figures, that's what you understand as smart working right now. That's your comprehension of it. But when we, do personal power mastery, I'm going to share with you the way that people who are, 7 and 8 and 9 figures or higher are doing things. Olympians, people that have won gold medals, Academy Awards. This is their version of working smarter. Companies that have managed large groups of people as well. So these are all things that everyone can learn. They're all learnable skills. And when you see kind of how it fits together with these patterns, it's really a matter of, how should we say, little tweaks to get to big results. Because, again, most of you are already giving your best effort. It's now just a matter of putting those efforts in better spots, like positioning that, right? So that's one of the big things. The other thing that I think is also really, for me, a powerful aspect is, the sequence of how we must be before we can do, and then ultimately we will have. You've heard the saying that says actions speak louder than words?
Yeah.
Well, being actually speaks even louder than actions. And we've heard that saying before, that we've got to be it before we can do it and then have it. The problem is most people don't know really what that means. What do we need to be? Like, what do we really need to be? And so we talk a lot about some of the attributes of the top achievers that are often not spoken of, things that most success books don't talk about. Like most success books, and even as a small experiment, you can do this now. Ask yourself, what are your goals? Well, most people will list goals in the areas of things that they'd like to have and things that they'd like to do. But rarely do we ever set goals on what we would like to be, right? Like if you ask people their goals, they say, well, I'd like to travel, I'd like to have more money, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do that. It's all have and do. So most people don't understand the essence of building that foundation of be at the beginning and that real essence of character development, but in a way that top achievers do it. And then I'll even take it on, let's call it an even smaller subatomic level, even how the mind works and quantum physics works, so that we can actually be something that we want to be and sustain it. Because that's a big challenge too. It's like anybody can go to a seminar and be pumped and motivated for a week or two after, but how do you make it now a permanent fixture in your life? So that's something that we share. One of the other things that I think is also, for me, important is, all of us have difficulties and adversities in life, but it seems like top achievers seem to glide through those with ease and sometimes even turn the most devastating, challenging things that appear into positives in their life. We're going to show you how they do that. And so regardless of what you're hitting as speed bumps or challenges in your life, how do you shift that around and create, success out of it? Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. And, I guess just even kind of like there's so many differences that we share here, even just the formula of how these things arrive and that connection, even how it begins with yourself and self-confidence and self-worth and self-fulfillment. What does that really mean on a top achiever level? And I'm not just talking about to feel good about yourself. I mean, for most people, that's kind of a given, but not always, right? Like a lot of people still even struggle with that. But once you even get past the feeling good about yourself, how do you really empower yourself, right? How do you unlock your brilliance? In fact, one of the things that I teach, and I'm a firm advocate at, is you've heard that so many gurus out there say to become successful, you need to get out of your comfort zone. I'm going to say that's not true. That's crap, right? It's not true. In fact, if you want to become a top achiever, it's not a matter of getting out of your comfort zone. It's a matter of getting into your brilliance zone. What are you really, really, really good at? What are you really, really passionate about? What can you do as a gift that no one else can do? And then get uncomfortable within that brilliance, right?
Right.
In fact, people didn't even realize this, but Napoleon Hill's been teaching something similar, not quite in the same detail, but he always says the riches are in the niches. So what is your niche? What is your gift? What is your power that you have that no one else can do? And we don't focus enough on our brilliance, I believe, as a society. We often, take our cues outside ourselves on what success means. In other words, we feel good if we get likes on Facebook or people share our posts or if we're wearing the clothing that society tells us we're popular if we wear or we're hanging out with the right people. We lose a lot of our authenticity. Mm-hmm. And so that's a really big part of personal power mastery. The truth of the matter is we can help anyone become rich once you discover who you really are.
Yeah, once you find that brilliant zone and know your why, things will unfold. It's like you mentioned earlier, the quantum physics around that is that people don't understand that there's parallels working for you. And the more you focus on your brilliance and how to shift those challenges into success is what makes you brilliant. The most successful people know this. Stress is a challenge to grow.
One of the key foundation things that I keep hearing over and over with what you're saying, and I think it really starts at this level, is nothing starts until you start.
Yeah.
Right?
That's definitely a big part of it. See, another thing that's really kind of interesting that not a lot of personal development people out there talk about is this concept of flow. Now, the Japanese call it ikigai. You've probably heard of that before. But that's only a surface of this too, right? Like if you think about the last time you were in your flow, right? Everything seemed to go really well. Time, in fact, rushed by. The work that got done was of a higher level and of a higher quality. The money that came in alongside of it just seemed to appear. And so top achievers have a way of kind of igniting that flow, sometimes without even barely trying. And so we're going to also share with you the formula on how they do that, how you know when you're in your flow, and how to ignite that, right? So how to make that happen more often than it's happening for you now. And when you're in your flow, the interesting thing is you'll also attract to you other people that will support that flow, and you'll be positioned as an expert in whatever you do. And as you know, experts are always more highly regarded. They always make more money. More opportunities appear for experts, and things just come together. So we'll show you how top achievers do that, because it's not an accidental thing. Not at all. It's not. And so that's one of the other big differences. I don't see anybody out there today teaching that at all.
Yeah, that's
interesting. So right now on our section, we have a break coming up real quick. But if you want to check out Doug Vermeeren, go to personalpowermastery.co, personalpowermastery.co. And after the break, we're going to have some ways of getting in contact with him and talk about his 3-day seminar coming up on In the Now 1.5. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Or how about the one that says, mindset is everything? I truly believe both these statements. If you're looking to grow in your life or your business, then something's got to change. Stop the limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Hi, I'm Brandon Hines, and I've helped thousands of my clients do just that. Stop being controlled by limiting beliefs and patterns that don't suit you anymore. Join me at AskBrandonForFree.com. That's AskBrandonForFree.com.
There is always something new at Waldo Bowers Flooring Showroom at 2300 Broadway. From the do-it-yourselfer to the exquisite home decor professional, from the inexpensive to the blue ribbon decorator. And if you just want to look around, Waldo Bowers carries more styles of flooring than any other flooring company in the Sacramento region, and they'll give you a great deal on anything they have in stock. Waldo Bowers, the one-stop decorating shop. Right now, luxury vinyl plank has a starting price of $2.99 per square foot. Wallpaper and window covering are always available. And don't forget the cleaning supplies. They have every cleaning product supplied by the manufacturer for every product on the floor, including Host Dry Carpet Cleaning System. Waldo Bowers, excellent customer service, professional installation, and affordable prices. Why would you go anywhere else? 0% financing is available on approved credit.
Coming back.
Waldo Bowers. Join them on Facebook, online at waldobowersfloorcovering.com, or call 451-0114. 451-0114.
The number one show for entrepreneurs. This is In the Now, part of the Money 2.0 series on Money 105.5 and the Money 105.5 app.
Welcome back, everyone. Doug Vermeeren. Wow. Power mastery, your personal power mastery. And those of you who are on social media right now watching on Facebook Live, you can literally see me and Mike heads down, taking notes the whole time.
Yeah.
This is
there was
why
so
we
many.
bring these people to you in our audience. It's not just that we think you need to hear from Doug. We want to hear from Doug.
Well,
we're learning.
We wanted a fun way to take notes.
Yeah.
Right?
So when you're looking at the social media, my head's down and I'm taking notes. I mean, Doug, I have to give it to you right now. You have an archive of the best quotes ever out of any of the guests that I've been on. I write down your quotes almost every single time. And I even last Thursday, I was looking at the lineup and I'm reading all the quotes from your last one going, man, I got 5 really good nuggets from the last time he was on the show.
Yeah. And today we've already got, 5 or 6 today?
Yeah,
right?
Leap and the net will appear.
Yeah.
And all of you out there, I mean, these are why we have these courses. So his 3-day seminar for personal power mastery, go to personalpowermastery.co, not .com, .co, because this is an international speaker we have on for you today, and take a look at what he's offering. So, Doug, how do they get in touch with you if people want to connect, they feel your vibe, want to become part of your tribe?
Yeah, well, obviously, I want you to get to know us a little bit better, so I'd like you to do it for free. I don't want to, put you into one of our courses immediately. So what we've done is we put up a group called Personal Power Mastery with Douglas Vermeeren. You can type in Personal Power Mastery, and it'll show up there. But every day I post free articles, quotes, because you guys are talking about quotes here, videos and other tools. And funny enough, I also even bring on some of the top achievers that I interviewed. So as I talk about some of these multi-millionaires and billionaires and Academy Award winners and all these people, I bring them on and they actually share firsthand how they gained their success. And so I think it's a really cool group. It's a really good opportunity to come and kind of experience who we are. And obviously, if you get what we do, if you like what we do, if you find benefit of it, there'll be opportunities to continue further with us. And so we'd love to, connect with you at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So basically search Personal Power Mastery with Doug Vermeeren and get in there. Find out what's going on. Try some of the free stuff out. Take a look at it. I mean, obviously, you guys know it's speaking. Actions speak louder than words, but being speaks louder. How to shift challenges into success. Jump into your brilliance zone. Set your goals to have to be, not what you want. Like, I always look at that and I say, okay, what do I want? And then the next thing of neuroscience is to say, what will having that do for me? And deep dive that a little bit. Because having the money is great. Having the friends is great. Having the success is great. But what is that going to do for you? What will having that do for you? For me, it builds a stronger family bond, so I have that family support. So my success is what I want to be. I want to be a better family member from my brothers, my sisters, my dad, my wife, my kids, my friends. So what do I want to be? What is my goal to be? Has been huge in this last 5 years, just learning that there's more to it than just the success base. And
it's so interesting that you say this too, and sort of just stop you there, but recently I was doing a television show on ABC, and they pointed out a lot of the top gurus that are out there right now, And they said something that really actually made me quite proud of our program. And I'm not going to criticize the other gurus that are out there, and I'm not saying that, they're doing it wrong, but this was something that was specifically noticed about our programs, is that we are very family focused. Family is important to us. Family is one of our goals. And so while other people are maybe teaching that the key is get out there and make a ton of money and get out there and grow your business and grow your life, we're one of the only few, I think, that as part of success, I think a part of definition of success is to retain and maintain your family balance and to have that there. I personally believe there's a leader that once said that no failure or no success can compensate for failure in the home. And I believe that that's true, that, if we get all the money in the world, but we lose our family, what good is that, right? Yeah. And so I'm very proud that they noticed that I'm one of the only ones that's out there today teaching a balance, that true success, true wealth, true abundance actually means abundance in all areas, including in your relationships and your connection to those that matter most to you in your life. And so when you come to Personal Power Mastery, you'll see that is something that we teach. We teach how to build better families. And that's one of the things, like I said, I'm super proud of, that we've had a lot of success there.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with you. If you come to our Design It course or any of our main courses, it's WIIFM, your own little radio station. What's in it for me? Yeah. What's going to change that? And if you don't put you and your family first, then you'll always just have a means goal. I go to work so I can. I do this so I can. But if you and your family are first, you will grow. Doug.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
Outstanding, man. I love it. I mean, a lot of our guests, and I mean, all of our listeners out there, if you look what we're bringing to you, we're bringing alignment that aligns with what we want. We know what we want for this show. We know what we want you to experience. And all these listeners and all the people jumping on the social media, I love the fact that you're back and you're supporting us and you're listening to what our guests have to say. And all I'm saying right now is take that action. Find out how that goal works in your life and find out that goal of who you'd like to be, not what you'd like to have. Take those sequences that are being put into place for you. Take a look at Doug. Go to his spots. Search out Personal Power Mastery. Take some action, because all this knowledge that we're giving out that Doug's feeding you right now, these gold nuggets, is only good if you leverage it. Knowing something and leveraging it is knowledge.
Nothing starts until you start.
Nothing starts till you start. So, Doug, in a closing, let our audience know.
Yeah, what's the one question we should have asked?
Wow. Okay. So, yeah, that's great. Well, I think the one question you should ask, because I'd love to support it, is when will you be back on the show? I'm kidding. I'd love to be back.
No, actually, we were just writing it down. We're getting ready to do a radio show summit.
Yeah,
You'll be one of our top guests.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking.
And I'd love to.
Yeah.
We always have fun. Like, you guys are so insightful. And the one thing I'm going to say about you guys right off the bat is, one of the reasons we can enjoy these kind of conversations is you're very well versed in the conversation of personal development. You know the subject matter so well that you make it easy for guests like me. So I really do appreciate that. But, I think if we were to look at the question of maybe not even so much the one that I think about so much, but the one that I see so many of those who come to our seminars, right? Those that come to Personal Power Mastery. I think the biggest question people ask is really, where do I begin?
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of reminds me of an experience I had not too long ago with an interview that I also did. And it wasn't with a top achiever. It was actually with a lady that I know that works on the suicide hotline. So basically, she's trained that when someone's calling in, they've got desperation, they're looking to end their life, what is it that we should say to these people that would help them? And it was surprising. The only thing they're not allowed to say, a rule that they have, you are not allowed to say this, was you cannot kill yourself. And I thought, what? And she said, well, the reason why people feel despair and they feel discouragement and they feel cornered is because they feel like all their choices have been taken away. And so when we say to them, don't kill yourself, we're still taking away choice. We're telling them not to do something. And so her advice was, as we help them see their choices, but also help them see their consequences. And so I guess in conclusion on the show today, I'd just like to say that I think that that's an important place to start, is to recognize that no matter what circumstance you're in, if you don't like it, if there's not enough money, if there's not a good relationship in your life, if you're even suffering abuse, if you're having challenges in any capacity, your business isn't going right, you're maybe facing bankruptcy or losing a house or foreclosure, I want you to just remind yourself that you have some choices. And the minute you have a choice, you're starting to regain your power back. And the more choices that you recognize and that you start to make on your behalf gives you more power. So list your choices, and you'll see that sometimes there are options that you didn't consider. And as part of that as well, don't think that you're the only one that's got to add choices. If you've got a mentor or a friend or a coach or someone who has been through what you've been through, they can often provide you ideas to consider as choices that you may never have looked at.
Yeah, and I love that, because then you're in the flow, right? And then you start taking action, and things start showing up in your life. So you do have choices. Doug, it's been an amazing venture with you for the last 40 so minutes, and we really appreciate the time that you've given. We want to thank you for being on here for sure.
Anytime. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
There you have it, everyone. Add more choices to your menu. You want something? Add a choice to have it.
Yeah.
Choose what you want in life and move forward. Take the actions that you need. And Doug Vermeeren, that's amazing advice. Leap and the net will appear. Make the choice to take action. A goal that is specific and clear becomes obtainable. Make it happen. We love sharing this knowledge with you guys. This show has been amazing. What episode are we on, Mike?
This is 38.
38 episodes of just power. We're bringing it in the now.
Tons
the guests, the time, the quotes. Some of these quotes I've been framing up on my computer screen. I got all these Post-its all over. Just as some of them are so powerful, you want to be able to relive them. So those of you who are out there, make the choice to have what you want in life. Be that person.
Take action.
Be the person in the goal. To my family, I love you for always supporting me and always being there. My wife, Veronica.
Yep, and we're here every Thursday, 10 a.m. on In the Now with Mike Driggers, Brandon Hines on Money Talk 105.5. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Love, family, everybody. Bye.